This week on Average Joe, I'll tackle the Walk of Shame. The Walk of Shame, originally created in France in the late 1800s, is the one thing every college student who actively hooks up has done at some point in his or her tenure at the university. Not to be confused with the Walk of Pride, the Walk of Shame is quite the opposite. After a night of raucous partying, that 10 you went home with has likely become a 2. While you cannot change what happened last night, the goal now is to focus on the future and get home without further embarrassing yourself. Once up and out, it's game time. If you leave at any time later than 9 a.m., it is likely that you'll run into friends, family, co-workers, and even your rabbi or priest while still dressed in non-time appropriate clothing. Because there's no plausible way to change clothes and make it look like you weren't out gallivanting around town with loose morals and spread legs, you'll have to plan ahead to avoid these situations. Plan the night before with some just-in-case materials. I like to fold up a packet of notes in my back pocket and put on a set of iPod headphones in my front as an emergency kit. That way, if I ever have to walk home, I can carry the packet of paper while listening to my imaginary iPod. If anyone sees me or stops me on the street, I can tell them I was running over to a friend's house to pick up some notes. They'll believe you because no one typically goes out at night with these materials on their person, so they have no grounds on which to call you out. While these ideas can work for any gender, I do agree that females have a tougher time playing off the Walk of Shame. Given that, let's go to Diana and Sammy for some personal perspective from a woman.
Like Joe said, more often than not, it's usually us that are doing the Walk of Shame.
We're the lucky ones.
We are the lucky ones.
First of all, the worst thing about the Walk of Shame is the next morning leaving the dorm, the frat, even the club still, I don't know, maybe.
Sporting stilettos.
Still in stilettos. So, maybe, you could tape this under your dress, anywhere. I'm not going to give specifics, but
I think it even folds up.
It folds, so
these are pretty small.
handy.
You can fit these anywhere, and no one really has to know about it. I would say worse than almost having to do the Walk of Shame is when your date knows that you're planning to do it.
Right.
You don't want to seem like that girl that regularly does the Walk of Shame and has like their ready to go kit.
So when you're undressing and untaping, just make sure you throw it aside so they
Tuck it
don't
under
figure
the
it out.
bed. Right. Make it look like a sex toy. These are great options.
Or a bracelet.
Right. So trendy. Another thing that Joe brought up is that you really need to either get out early or get out late.
Which is difficult in the stilettos, so maybe you should get out as early as possible. 6 o'clock?
Okay,
7?
So a quick tip to do this, you're not gonna set the guy's alarm, you don't wanna look like you're in your own house. Cell phone, great. Charge it before you go out. They almost always have an alarm clock. This is a great way to make sure you're up and out of there. Another great thing, gum.
Always a necessity.
Always a necessity. It's hard to bring the toothbrush and toothpaste if someone finds it. You look like you have.
And then you were planning it all along. And
you were planning it. You have hygiene problems. Not a great thing.
Too hard to carry the whole carton. You could just take a few out and stuff them in places, anywhere.
And my personal favorite, I think you can vouch for me on this one. Almost every person on campus has this. What some people don't know is that this coat has 15 pockets.
Yeah.
And
a huge zipper. You can't see what's under there at all.
At all.
For all you know, everyone could be naked every day in the bag.
This is your backpack, for all intents and purposes, for the Walk of Shame. You can fit your cell phone. I'm pretty sure the flip-flop, you can fold this up. It goes really nicely right into this pocket. No one has to know you were planning the Walk of Shame. I'd say flip-flops, the coat, cell phone, pack of gum.
You're golden.
You're ready to go. Now back to you, Joe.
Thanks, guys. Well, there you have it. The Average Joe's Guide to Avoiding the Walk of Shame. Of course, if you truly wanted to avoid the walk altogether, you can simply take my parents' advice and stop being such a damn whore.